Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to a beautiful Monday. It's actually Memorial Day, if I'm not mistaken. When you're retiring, you lose track of these things. Anyway, what we're going to do today, seeing as how it's such a lovely day, I've got a little bit of a flight in mind. So we're going to take the bike and we're going to head up towards Interstate 10 here in the panhandle of Florida. We're going to check out a solar farm that's up there. It's a rather large one. And I've seen these things flown before. They look really cool. So what we're going to try to do is get a little bit more of an intimate view of it by throwing the drone up in the air, and I'll be flying it myself. So what we need to do is throw on our flight gear and get ready to check out the Sunshine Gateway Solar Farm here in the panhandle of Florida. Well, hey everybody, we are off on another ride upside adventure. I think first thing we need to do is get some petrol. Our gasoline gauge is showing a little bit on the empty side, so we're going to go a little bit out of our way to go pick up some gas, and after that we'll be on it. So we're heading out towards a solar panel farm. I guess that's one way to put it. The state calls it the Sunshine Gateway Solar Power Farm, something like that. We're going to kind of go out there and check it out a little bit. I want to fly the drone over it. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about this farm that we're going to, this solar farm. And I went to an article that was put out by one of the local TV stations, and they were apparently invited by a guy by the name of Bruce Brisky. That's Bubisky, B-U-B-R-I-S-K-I. I think he's the Director of Public Affairs for the state of Florida. And he talked to this TV station a little bit while they were there, and they got exclusive rights to walk through this farm. I've never seen their video, but the article talked a lot about different aspects of this farm, and I'm just going to try to spew some of them back to you here. Anyway, this Bruce Bobrinsky guy, he gave this TV station a tour of this place, and they talked a lot about it. And one of the things that they said is that the property was purchased from some local farmers a number of years ago. And the piece of land that it sits on is about 975 acres. He was saying that the solar panels that are actually sitting on this acreage take up the space of about 500 of those 975 acres. So it's over half of the acreage taken up just by these panels. He says the number of panels that are sitting out there are 330,000 solar panels. That's a lot of daggum solar panels. Sitting on 500 acres on a 975 acre piece of land. Those panels will produce about it's a little over 74 megawatts of power per year. 74 megawatts of power per year. And you're thinking, power, megawatts, holy mackerel, that's a lot of power. That's enough electrical power to supply about 15,000 homes. We've come to a point in this road where it's turning to dirt. Here we are on a road. Google's telling me to take this road, so we're going to take it. Warning, closed area. I'm hoping that's just off the road. Alright, fine. Closed area. Let's go. Well, it's an adventure. Let's go. You know, I've had other people tell me they get kind of worried about the things that Google Maps will send them on. It's getting pretty rough. Oh, good grief. What is that? Remnants of pavement? Uh-oh, no, we've gone to rock. Now we've gone to rock. Well, I guess, but see, way off in the distance, it goes back from rock. Well, actually, we've got pavement here. I need to find a little shady spot. I think I'm going to do that up there in the shade. I can see a shady spot on the road. We're back to pavement for a short period here. And I'm going to pull off and check this map. It says it's not that much farther, but see, we're coming back into dirt again. And I don't like this dirt. This is squirrely crap, man. And I am hoping beyond all hope that this stuff ends right here. We've been on this now for about 5 miles. Haven't dropped the bike yet. No, you guys didn't miss anything. We're just still cruising along. And we'll find out in just a couple of seconds if that's a true statement. Well, welcome to it. However, look off in the distance. This is so hit and miss. Oh my God, man. Yep. I think I see dirt again. God. All right. I'm going to have to slow it back down. God, does this ever end? I think it's got to end here pretty quick. There's a big notch in the road coming up. I hope this isn't going to get really squirrely here. It's pretty well packed. This is really washboardy stuff, man. It's like, right enough to this, riding like this. My God. I think we need to take a different route back. I see a freeway up there, or some kind of a road. I saw a car go racing by. Hallelujah. I think we've achieved something. There's a stop sign coming up. There's all kinds of gating material. Let's hope it's not closed. If they don't let me out, that'll really be a disaster. What do we got? Oh, look, there's cars. I think we have achieved nirvana. That would be the end. Oh my goodness. Ah, holy crap. Ah, there you go. Holy mackerel. I'm not 100% sure I want to do that again that way. We're going to have to rethink that. Once we're done flying, I'm going to rethink my decision to go through there. I need to get going. My bike is extremely hot. Alright, we're slowing down a bit here. You see all the signs? Junction, Interstate 10, West on 10, East on 10. I think I need to be on the other side. Pensacola is straight. Tallahassee is to the right. Alright, here's our exit. We're going to get off here. We're going to kind of go to the back and find us a little bit of a place to fly. It's out there. Hey everybody, welcome to the upside of our video today. It sure is a lot better looking than the dirt road that we had to drive on to get here. What did you think of that? Oh my gosh, we have got to find a better way back. That's crazy. This, on the other hand, look at this thing. This is cobalt blue for as far as you can see. This is 500 acres of beautiful blue solar panels. Look at these things. They go way off to the right side up here, and there's a whole bunch of it behind us to the right and to the left. These things go on forever. They say there are 330,000 panels out here. Now when they say a panel, I don't think that they're talking about those individual little squares there. I think a panel is a little bit bigger than that. I mean, if they were talking about those little tiny squares, there would be millions of them. I think the panels are a little bit bigger than that. They might have 14, 16 squares on each panel. You'll be able to see that a little better as we fly off in this direction now. You see those stanchions that are actually cemented into the ground? I think each of the panels are bolted between a section of those things. That would be what a solar panel is. And I think there's about 14 or 16 or so of those individual squares on each of those panels. So that's where I think they come up with that number. But I mean, look at this place. Isn't this cool? 500 acres of solar panels sitting out here in the Florida sunshine, producing electrical power. Something you got to watch for when you get down low and start flying over these things like this is birds. Birds come out when you get down here because I think they like these as a nesting place. And when you fly low, that buzzy little drone of mine sounds like some kind of a predator, and they come out in great numbers chasing you around. I've had problems with them before. But look at these babies. Aren't they something sitting out here? These panels are a lot more fragile than you think. There are things that are in Florida or that happen in Florida that will affect the welfare of these panels in a big way. One of them, we call them hurricanes. We are currently sitting in Hurricane Alley in the northern part of Florida right here. This is up in the Panhandle area. And hurricanes come banging through here all the time. There was one that came through here about 8 years ago and just tore this place to pieces. If you go online and look, you can see the devastation that hurricanes cause to these kind of panels. They just rip them out of the ground and throw them for miles. It's crazy. Another thing that affects solar panels like this is hail. Now, hail's not going to be pounding down quite as much here as it would in other places, but there are hailstorms that will just tear these things up. When you start throwing hail at these that are the size of golf balls, that does a lot of damage to these things. And it's very expensive to get them fixed. These panels operate a little bit differently than the ones that you would have on your house. These ones here, they just put out power during the day, and when the sun goes down, they're done. But during the day, they're putting out power, and that power is just being shoved into the grid. That's kind of how I understand it, and is used as a supplement to the electrical grid that's out there to supply people's homes and businesses. But if you were putting these things on a house, obviously you'd have to have a pretty big house to take this many, but it's a lot smaller of an operation. On a house, you're going to want power all the time. So they have something else that they add to these, and it's called batteries. They're going to have, Tesla actually makes something they call a power wall that you can buy, that you have to buy basically if you want to have power all the time. And during the day, your panels are producing power, charging up your batteries and supplying power to your house. And in the evening, when the sun goes down and your panels aren't powering anymore, the batteries are what are powering your house through the inverters that are in the power wall. That's kind of how they work. You can look all that stuff up on the internet, and it's all explained out there. That's kind of how I got all this information. Anyway, this is cool. What I would like to do is I would like to talk a little bit about these things and make a comparison to these panels as far as the size that they are and how much space they take up, to the power that they put out, and compare that to something else that's considered a renewable power source, like maybe a hydroelectric dam or something, because hydroelectric power is also a renewable power source. So I guess maybe on the way home today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll make those comparisons. I think that would be a grand thing to do. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed your flight. Let's get back to the ride home. All right, hey everybody. We just put the drone back in the old box, getting ready to take off here. We're going to take a little bit different route home. I don't want to go through that dirt again. Not that that isn't thoroughly exciting and the kind of adventure that I should go out and look for, but doing that, I'm just asking for trouble. I can drop the bike out there, and in the dirt, you know, I'm not going to get good traction with my boots. The wheels aren't going to hold their position real well as I'm trying to lift the bike up. It could be a disaster, and I just don't want to deal with it. Anyway, we're going to go down the freeway here a little bit. There's a road that I can take that'll take me back a little bit longer route, and that's kind of what we're going to do. Well, okay, we're getting off. We're looking for a little place called Milton Road. It's actually State Route Highway number 89, something to that effect. Theoretically, it's supposed to be up here. We will see what we will see. Milton is that way. I don't want to go down Milton that way. We want to go this way. This is towards the coast. All right. Let's do it. There's Interstate 10, east and west. So here we go. Anyway, what do you think of that farm? That's a pretty cool thing. I mean, it looks great. All those, we're going to call it cobalt blue solar panels, as far as the eye can see, nearly spread out there. Isn't that just cool? I think it's neat. I really do. One thing that, I don't know if you noticed it or not, one of the things that is really kind of interesting about that is that there's a lot of birds that make their nests in those things. And the funny thing is, that drone is perceived by those birds to be a predator. A predator, some kind of a prey bird. And they attack it. It's kind of unusual, actually. They attack it a lot. I've been attacked before. I've had my drone driven out of the sky by some, I think it was an osprey. That was down in South Florida, but I had to be kind of careful this time. When I got really low like that, it really shook them up and they started coming out in large numbers. I don't know if you saw them all on the video. I would suggest that if you want to find out a little bit more about these things, to go online and look up solar farms, large array solar farms, that kind of a thing. We've come up on 98. This is the junction to 98. We're going to head over towards Fort Walton Beach. It's to our left. I smell barbecue. Well, of course this is barbecue. This is the Gulf Coast out here. We've, I don't know if you can see it out there over the top of that car, but there's water in the distance. You can't go straight from here. You have to make a left or a right, because this is a freeway or a road that kind of runs along this Gulf Island out here. What I need to do is get back out on the road and kind of go that way there. So I had to stop because for some reason we're sitting at that stoplight back there, and I heard my camera deedle off. And that's a technical term for shut down. So I had to figure out why the stupid thing was not working. So, yeah, here we go. Anyway, we're driving at a decent enough speed in this little town where we can chat a little bit about our videoing adventures today. I said I was going to do a little bit of a comparison between what we just flew over and say another source of electrical power in this country. I'm going to use a hydroelectric dam. I mean, hydroelectric dams have been supplying power to this place for a long damn time. Anyway, I wanted to compare what we flew over to the Grand Coulee Dam as far as, you know, size, footprint that it takes up on the earth, power output, which equates very quickly into how many houses can it supply power to, Just stuff like that. So if we go back and review just a little bit, that farm we flew over was about 500 acres of lovely cobalt blue solar panels. Very cool, actually. I'm not going to sit here. We're just going to cut traffic because I don't want to wait. How's that? How's that for a reason? Anyway, that's 500 acres of solar panels. That's a lot of acreage. A lot of acreage. My gosh, man. Well, for something that takes up 500 acres and puts out 74 million watts of power annually and supplies 15,000 homes. All right. That's something to start with. Now let's compare that to something like Grand Coulee Dam. Now, if you look at the footprint that Grand Coulee Dam takes up, Grand Coulee Dam has a footprint that's like, it's nearly a mile across. It's like 5,223 feet across the top of the dam. And at the base of the dam, which is what we've got to really measure as far as footprints go, it's like 500 feet thick. What is that? I think that dam takes up about 60 acres. Is what that equals. So if you compare the size of that, 60 acres taken up by that dam compared to 500 acres taken up by that solar farm, you could put a little over 8 of those dams onto that same plot of land that is taken up by those 330 solar panels. A little over 8 of those dams. That's a lot of stuff, man. That's a lot of dams. Okay, so now we know a relative size. Let's look at something like how much power this thing puts out. Well, those 330,000 solar panels on 500 acres puts out 15 or 74 megawatts of power annually. Well, Grand Coulee Dam puts out about 2,300 megawatts of power continuously. Now, I say continuously because it does it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Whereas something you need to know about that farm is that when it puts out power, it only puts it out, that 74 megawatts is only basically 25% of the time, because when the sun shines or when it's raining or when it's cloudy, there's no power output. It's not doing squat. So there's no continuous. And then to compare houses, they say that that dam, or that power plant can power, or that solar farm can power about 15,000 homes. Well, Grand Coulee Dam, I think, has powers continuously about 4.2 million homes. Continuously, not 25% of the time, but continuously. Well, anyway, those are just a few of the stats. Well, I'm glad we got this done today. Look at these clouds. They're coming in. It's getting a little bit, we're probably going to get rain here eventually. Which, as you probably well know, is not going to be very conducive to producing power in a solar farm, by the way. Anyway, at any rate, while we're just tooling along here, that restaurant is open. That's not a bad little restaurant. I've had mixed reviews on that, but now that I've been there a few times, it's worked out long term to be a pretty good restaurant. I've kind of enjoyed it. Well, at any rate, we're just about home, and I want to conclude this video by thanking everybody for hanging in with me this long, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed our little soiree adventure up to explore and fly the Sunshine Gateway Solar Farm up in the panhandle here of Florida. I think it looks really cool sitting out there in the sun and glistening away. Marvelous thing. There are advantages to them and there are disadvantages to them, and I would encourage you to go on the internet and look those things up, because there's a lot of information about them out there. I've spent a lot of time looking at that stuff. I'd like to thank you for coming along, and until our next adventure out on the road, I will sign off by saying toodaloo.